Well, hello again to all my friends on the internet. This is Doc Eon welcoming you to another ramble about miniatures on this Monday, the 28th of October, 2019. We're going to start out with all these scarecrows. I painted up all 12 of them. As you can see, there's, as I mentioned, there's two sets. Now the lighting, again, is kind of bad in here. Bear with me. So there's two of each model, and I painted them up relatively simply in muted colors because they're scarecrows. They've been sitting out in the field for a long time in the weather, in the cold and damp. And yeah, they came out okay. I don't know if it was a happy accident. I had a sort of an accident in the varnishing. I don't know if you can tell, but they all look, they're very, very matte. Some of them look, like these guys, look pretty much almost dusty. And this was an effect of the matte varnish. I don't know if it was something about the humidity on the day I used it, the way it went on, or if it was too thick, or what it is. But it looked really harsh in its matteness. And even the metal looked like white. It looked like there was white dust all over the metal parts. So I actually went in and fixed that slightly. I brushed on some satin varnish on just the metallic parts to try to make those stand out and just to give a little bit of a sheen to them again. I think it worked, but I decided to leave the rest of them alone. Because again, yeah, I mean, dry and dusty, that's a pretty good look for animated, perhaps undead scarecrows. So yeah, and here in the back we have the other versions. Why they have nooses, several of them around their necks, I do not know. I don't know who hangs a scarecrow. It's a little unclear. But anyway, I will put still pics, of course, at the end so you can see them in more detail. And I got some more things done this week, actually. Let's move on. Here's some big and beefy Reaper Bones figures. We have 3 Hellhounds. And now they're a little shiny, but this is partially because I have to use very strong lights to make them show up at all in this dark and dismal winter. But also choosing between a satin finish and the dead matte that my current can of Army Painter matte varnish gives you, I'd rather have a little bit of shine, a little bit of sheen. And then there's this big brutish guy who's mostly metal, but has kind of a skull head. And I painted the few bits of skin showing, like his hands and a little bit in the joints. I don't know if you can tell down here between the plates, and see a little bit of the armpits in there. I painted them the sort of the same skull color because you know, I want it to be different from the metal, and technically maybe it's not bone, but I wanted to unify it. And I think he came out effectively. And I like the Hellhounds as well. I think I got the effect of black skin with cracks with some sort of red lava or something underneath there. Maybe it's a little too shiny. Maybe I'll go over it with some brush on matte varnish. We'll see. But I'm more concerned how it looks on the tabletop under normal indoor lighting circumstances than these sort of artificial filming conditions. So, and just for one final batch of finished minis, these grody skeletons, who are really messed up and dark, and I like them. And the best thing about this is that I varnished these with the same can of Army Painter matte varnish that I got a bad result from the other day, but these turned out perfect. So it must have been something about the weather. You know, probably the humidity. It was drier today. Yeah, so lots done. A few things not done. We'll go over those next, and then go on to stuff that's in prep. So the models that are not done yet, out of what you've seen before, we have the Undead Shark, which is started. I put it on a flying stand and laid down some very sloppy base coats, but you know the drill. It starts out sloppy, it gets better later. And then we have Azeroth. Never-ending story, but I don't know if you can tell, but there's actually more work done on his skin and the face, the eyes and the teeth. So he's moving along. I put another base coat on the furs. I don't know. Maybe next time. And to show you the stuff that I've newly primed, it's a lot of Halloween themed stuff that I will hopefully do in the next couple of days before Halloween actually comes around. We have that Sophie miniature here in her cat costume, sitting on a jack-o'-lantern. I've left the connection point there on the back bare metal because I have to paint these wings separately. They would not fit on. It just wouldn't work assembling it all before painting. And these three here are the metallic sort of pumpkin monsters. Metallic. They're metal. The material is metal. Not that they're not armored or anything. Because that would be these guys in the next row, who have some sort of armor and weapons, but they're actually made of bones. They're plastic dudes. Here's another gravedigger. And this guy. And then we have the translucent ones that are not primed as such. They got a spray of matte varnish because that lets paint, the very little paint that I'm going to put on them adhere better. I primed the bases by hand. This one is holding a scythe and a lantern. Maybe I want to paint those. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. Not leave the weapons, the items translucent. Maybe? I don't know. This one is not carrying any items. It's just some sort of ragged robes. And this thing I did not put on an extra base. I just left the integral base on because it was big enough. It's mostly a lot of... Now that I look at it, see, I primed the skeletons here at the bottom that the ghosts are rising up out of. Now that I look at it carefully, it looks like there's some other pieces of skeletons within this, maybe? I'm gonna have to look at this under a magnifier to figure out what everything is, and if there's anything I need to paint non-translucent. Anyway. So this is all very much in the works. So the Stephanie Law set is not as far as priming yet. I have taken them out of the packages and I've cleaned all these up, removed mold lines, burrs, artifacts, filed them, and washed them. So they're ready to be based and then primed. So there's these two ladies. There's, I believe, 17 little animal figures and this weird little angel coming out of a pillow. I don't know. I don't feel he belongs with the rest of these, but he was in one of the packages. I'm going to put him aside with those other little cherubs that I didn't know what to do with, and we'll save those up for later. We'll just prep these for now. Now, just in case all of that prep stuff is not enough to keep me for a week, it might not be because it depends. You see, the coming week is a school holiday here in Sweden, and so I'm off work. I'm not meaning I don't have to go to the school and hold classes and that sort of thing. I still have a lot of stuff to do in terms of I've got a lot of tests to grade and that sort of thing. So I'm doing some work from home. But, you know, I do have technically possibly more time for painting. So it's I could need more stuff to put in the pipeline. And so if that happens, I will start prepping this stuff, which is, you've seen this before. This is my last Reaper order, I believe, the one that came last month, which I put aside because I didn't have time for it. It is a collection of monsters from bones, a dire bear, a dragon plant, and 3 harpies. And then there's a bunch of rogues in metal. Oh, and one in Bones Black, which was the promo mini. So I'm thinking maybe some of the rogues could be my store project for next Monday. Perhaps? We'll see. It all depends on what gets done, what gets completed out of the stuff that's already started. But I have a plan, and I might stick to it. In any case, that was that for this week. The episode is coming to a close. I'm thanking you for watching it. Click like if you got this far. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Share the video. Comment. Be back here next Monday. I certainly will. Till then, Dakian is signing off.